Joining me on the show, we've got another Simon from the Samurai 7. It's Simon from the Samurai 7. How you
Hello,
doing?
Simon from Voice FM.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you. All the better for seeing you.
Ah, thank you very much. Yeah, this is quite a surprising one for me because I I hadn't heard of the Samurai 7 before, because obviously you split up like 25 years ago and you're coming back now. I kind of thought you were like a new band when I was sent you. I was like, oh, these guys are really cool. They're like a new band. Then when I did some research, I was like, oh, they're not a new band. They'd been around a long time ago.
I'm glad we come across that way. But yeah, we're on our second go around.
Yeah. No, but I thought it sounded quite fresh. It sounded quite new. Like it sounded, I was like, oh, it's quite an exciting new band. And I was like, oh no. But it's 25-year gap is it's a significant amount of time.
It's it is a long time, but I'm glad that we're come. I mean, it's new material. It feels fresh to us because we've just written it and we're excited by it, and crowds are enjoying it, and it's going down well. And yeah, I mean, when does new material stop being new? I don't know.
So like, what was the main reason for like now being the moment you're like, do you know what? Let's give it another go.
Really good question. So we all stayed. This is the original lineup that have got back together, and we all stayed. The other guitar player is my brother, so we're kind of like we're kind of stuck together.
Yeah.
But we've all stayed in contact with each other. We some people have done no music. I've played in bands sort of and done session work and stuff like that ever since. But um, the I think things like COVID really kind of reminded people about um, the importance of seizing the day and doing something now while we can. I hope my brother wouldn't mind me saying he also was quite ill a year or two ago, and that kind of focuses the mind about, well, if not now, then when?
Yeah.
And our bass player actually was his wife asked him what he wanted for his birthday. He had a birthday coming up, and he said, well, more than things, what he wanted was a rehearsal with the boys again. And I was quite surprised when we all said yes, but we did. And once we were back in a room, it just sort of immediately things like slotted into place. We still enjoyed each other's company, which was good and important, but also because we used to play like hundreds of gigs a year when we were on our first go round, there's like muscle memory that just like clicked back into place. So although we did the first rehearsal with no other expectation that we just wanted to spend those 3 hours together and having fun. As soon as we finished, we were like, oh, we're obviously going to do this again. And then people started offering us gigs, and then we said yes, and then we enjoyed them. And now we've written some new material. So it's quite exciting. But I think it's important to spend time away from doing something to remember why you enjoyed it in the first place or why you enjoy it now.
Yeah.
And I've got we've all got kids. I've got quite young kids, and it's quite nice that um, they can come and see. Well, at least when we do a festival, not if we're playing some club late night, but if we,
Yeah.
they can come and see us play. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And I think we've all grown up a little bit or become easier to work with. I think I have. And so yeah, we're really enjoying it. And while we continue to enjoy each other's company, the music's good or we think it's good and it's going down well with audiences, then we'll carry on doing it really. I think that was the main thing that when we a couple of times before we got together, we socialized together, and I'm not really a social media person, but our drummer is, and he posted pictures of us in some Chinese restaurant or whatever it was, and I was quite surprised that the reaction from people, the general public, was like, "Oh, reunion, reunion,
Yeah.
reunion." There's like excitement about it, and I think right away we realized that if we got back together, we had an obligation to them, to our fans from the past, and to each other, not to really suck. It's got if you because people remember us really fondly, and that memory has been burnished over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a lot of rose tinted glasses involved. So from that point of view, if we're going to get back together, it had to be good. So that was the first thing that was important. But yeah, we're really enjoying it. People seem to, say we're better than ever. So which is nice.
Yeah.
I would
How
say that, wouldn't I?
Well, yeah, and you should be allowed to. But like, obviously, one of the biggest changes in music in the last decade or so is the rise of social media and how much that plays into a band's success now. How easy are you finding slotting into that world? Because it's completely, it wasn't around, didn't exist in the early 2000s, where we had like MySpace, I think, and that was about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the powerhouse that it is now, is it?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's been, I mean, there's a lot that's different. So, back on our first go around, you had to have a record label, and you'd release records in territory. So our first album, for example, was out in the UK first, then we got a Japanese deal and then an American deal and things like that. And it sort of was very different. And now you've got with things like Spotify, you've got people can self-release, so it's immensely like democratizing. It's good that everybody can get their music out there, without sort of needing to, you know, kiss some sort of corporate, bottom or anything like that. But at the same time, there's like a tidal wave of music now. So actually getting heard is hard. Specifically about so we've had to learn a lot and we've made a lot of mistakes. And some people have been very patient with us. But Chris, our drummer, he's got his daughters are late teens, early 20s. So he's sort of a bit more attuned to the social media side. So he's been doing a really great job. But now we're in a situation where we're having to talk to social media people about, trying to because you don't know what you don't know. So we've learned a
Yeah.
lot and we're doing okay. But and Chris has been doing all the hard yards. I've just been there going, oh, don't say that. But no, it is interesting, and I think that's the crazy thing is actually I was talking to a guy in another band, and I was saying, "Oh, how did you get that festival?" And he goes, "Oh, someone approached me through social media." And it is crazy now that it's not an A&R man going to a gig. It's like, well, what are your numbers? And
Yeah.
our social media numbers are, although I might look at it and go, "Oh, that seems like a lot." I don't think it is. So we do have to get serious about that sort of thing,
Yeah.
even though we might be a bit sniffy about it.
It is an odd thing because when I speak to a load of bands, especially bands that have been around for a long time or bands that are, coming back and things like that, and they're like, I used to spend 100% of my time focused on writing music, and interviews here and there and all that sort of stuff. But now, like, I'm spending 50% of my time coming up with TikTok ideas and
Right.
social media content. Like it's just such a shift in like the way that you have to focus your creativity. You can't just be like, we're just all about the music.
It really is, and I think one thing that we've I've certainly learned since we were first around is we used to think that we were four little identical samurai, and expect each other to be equally good at different things, and that's just not the case. We're really different. We're four weirdly shaped jigsaw pieces that somehow fit together. We're all totally different, and actually acceptance of that has been really important because it means we're not asking anyone to do something that they're going to really be bad at. But also, like our bass player, he's we've started using in it, this is a bit techie. We've started using in-ear monitors and all that kind of technical thing. I could, I can write a hook like nobody's business, but I don't know anything about tech. I don't really want to know anything about IT and social
Yeah.
media like that. But he's so great at that sort of thing. So he's worked out this really what seems to me to be a very complicated in-ear monitor rig for gigs, and that's the sort of thing he likes to do. And the idea of doing an interview for him would be like hell on earth. Whereas, so what's been really useful is our drummer's doing the social media. Chris, our drummer's doing social media stuff. Our bass player's doing the sort of more techie side and loading things up on Spotify and all that kind of stuff that I wouldn't even know where to start. So our weird differences are coming in quite handy now because there are lots of different things where I go, well, I don't know where to start with this, and Jimmy will go, well, I've looked something up and I've already done X, Y, and Z, and it's really amazing. So I think the crazy new world that we're emerging, blinking and rubbing our eyes into now has it's been quite serendipitous that we all have kind of like weird skills that we're like the Fantastic Four. And I don't know who's the lady and who's the guy made out of rubble, but yeah, perhaps it's
Just
me. I don't know.
just utilizing everyone's strengths to your
Yeah,
advantage.
yeah. And it's quite nice because I mean that's the thing. We having spent so long apart, actually we've all become, I don't know, self-actualized or whatever it is. So it's yeah. It's yeah, it's been interesting and it's been nice to appreciate each other's differences rather than sort of be annoyed by them, which
Yeah.
can happen in a van on a way home from a gig in Norwich at 3 a.m.
So yes, so we've got the latest single, which is Duck and Cover.
Yes.
So where did this one like come from?
Good question. Well, I had the idea of a song about sort of lampooning the idea of about 5 years ago, it felt like we lived in quite a secure world. So the idea of sort of like 1950s nuclear paranoia seemed like a long way away. So it sort of was like a light-hearted idea. And of course, since that time, without sort of getting too maudlin,
Yeah,
it's quite a scary time to be alive in and bring in new lives into. So yeah, it's I mean it's hardly it's quite a glib interpretation of it, but obviously it's about sort of the fact that they're all these elderly, quite insecure white billionaires in charge of countries who are sort of like, I don't know, driving us to a sort of the brink of Armageddon, just to avoid some kind of legal accountability. I don't know, maybe.
yeah,
But it's also a great pop song.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I would say.
oh, I love that.
That's the important thing.
So for someone like me, who's like only just discovered you on the back of you coming back now, what like three songs from your back catalogue should I go check out? That you'd be like, yeah, these are ones that really kind of will give you the essence of the band.
Great question. So, well, our first single was called Roxy Music, and that was. Can I give you four?
Yeah,
So it's Roxy Music, and Bonnet was on. I mean, the whatever a B side is on a CD, track two. That was our first single, and John Peel picked that up back in 1998, and that was kind of like our um that was our big breakthrough thing that got us sort of national exposure and international things and television and Radio One and all that kind of stuff. So I would start there. Those that so it's quite roughly recorded. It was just a demo that we did that a record company liked and put it out. So I would say that. And then there's a track off our album Le Sport, which is called Amateur Photographer. And I think that's sort of the more, um, I don't know, songwriting element. It's sort of I mean, I love well-written songs. I'm not saying that is one, but it's as close as I get. And then I'd say for four, thank you for allowing me four. I'd say Punching Down, which was our last single
yeah,
that we released in May, maybe.
yeah,
I'm gonna say May. It was the end of May.
yeah,
And so yeah, and but yeah, and then if I can have five, duck and cover, because I think duck and cover and punching down are sort of different sides of us too. They've both got the kind of love of vocal harmonies. We've vocal harmonies has always been a big part of the band, with the like sweetness of the harmonies together with the sort of like edgy guitars and the sort of sour slight discord sometimes. You've got to have a bit of grit in the oyster, I always think. Um, Otherwise, something's a bit too saccharine. We don't want to be the Beach Boys, as great as some of the Beach Boys stuff is, and as terrible as some Beach Boys. Have you ever heard Kokomo, for God's sake? So yeah. I think those are songs I would start with, and
yeah.
if you, but yeah, we've got an EP coming out with four new songs where Duck and Cover and Punching Down are two of them, and I think they're as good as we've been able to do so far, and we'll do our best to do better next time.
Yeah. So yeah, so you said you got an EP coming out. How many songs have you actually written and recorded? Is it just those four, or have you got some more in the bank?
Yeah, so we've got more coming as well. So we did when we were doing the sessions for the EP, then we did five songs and one of them just didn't get mixed in time to be on the EP. So, and then I've written some more songs since then that I'm even more excited about. So, I think that's the crazy thing when I was writing songs for the sort of first incarnation of the band, sort of they're about bad relationships or frustrating situations and that kind of thing. And then nowadays, I'm married with two kids. Life's quite nice. There's less to be frustrated about. So you sort of, there was a point where I was thinking, nobody wants to hear a song about either life being good or about what secondary school should my elder daughter go to. So you have to find some sort of angle, which is probably why I'm starting to think about, songs about punching down was kind of about the way that billionaires are distorting things in the media to turn us all against each other
Yeah.
when really we all have more in common. I certainly have more similar concerns about, sort of day-to-day existence with the next man in the street than I do with Elon Musk, who became a trillionaire since Punching Down was released.
Yeah.
It's
That's
getting worse, Simon. It's getting worse.
yeah. I mean, there's not much you can say on a
No,
trillionaire, is there? It's just
apart from can I have some money?
yeah, that would be nice. So yeah, obviously, so you're back on the road in November as well with the Boo Radleys, but also
Yeah.
you're going to be playing the Wedge in September.
Yes, indeed. So Portsmouth Wedgwood Drums on the 20th of September with the Glorias, Stay Awakes, and Space Wasters.
I like the
And
Space
that's the
Wasters.
Samurai 7.
That's a nice name.
I know when I saw it and I thought they should have more confidence in themselves. I'm sure that's their name. That's not my editorialized review. I'm sure they're amazing.
Yeah. So have you got any festivals lined up in between now and then?
Yeah, so we're playing. We've done a couple of festivals already, and we're headlining the Riverside Festival in Charlbury on the 18th of July. So that's Saturday, and it's the day of the third, fourth place playoff in the World Cup. So whatever's going on with England has a special poignance to us. So I don't know, third, fourth playoffs. I'm not sure that's going to be particularly the sort of air's been let out of the balloon by that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're really looking forward to that. We first played the Riverside Festival in Charlbury well, many years ago, and it was tiny, and now it's sort of much bigger, and it's a free festival. It's run by the local community. Charlbury's got this amazing like artistic community, so it's a great atmosphere. Loads of local local bands and bands from further afield, but there's a great spirit there. Just run by people who love music. So thank
Yeah.
goodness for people like them. It's funny, there's a music magazine called Night Shift that's been running for, Night Shift and Curfew before it's been running for about 30 years. That's supported the Oxford music scene. And the guy who ran it, Ronan Munro, he has retired lately. And it's really made me think about how music scenes are underpinned by the people who write about it, the people who broadcast about it, like you, and the people that put on gigs, and the people that do sound or promote or whatever. And so I've had a real kind of like eye-opening, oh, what's the word? Revelation about the importance of the people around who enable people like us to have a music scene to play in. So
Yeah.
thank you to Ronan, thank you to the people who do Charlbury, thank you to the people promoting at the Wedgwood Rooms, all that.
Yeah. How easy has it been stepping back out on stage? 'Cause obviously, there's a difference to playing in a rehearsal room altogether to being on a stage. How easy has it been? Is it just like getting back on a bike and going, oh yeah, look, it's fine.
Um, yeah, a little. I mean, I think I've always really enjoyed the live environment. I love to play, and I like the amps cranked up. And I think the other thing is because we get on well as a four, there's a real sense of that we're doing it together and we're supporting each other. So if I know some people in the band have had to like get themselves psyched up to do some of our earlier gigs.
Yeah.
And then they performed amazingly. So, but yeah, I enjoy it. So, I mean, I love the excitement of a gig. There's lots of feelings there, but it's always good stuff. And like I say, what's quite nice is I've got like often sort of against the crash barrier at the front is of my two daughters sort of like doing heart symbols at me, which is quite distracting, but quite nice.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like a really exciting time for you guys to be back. It seems fresh. It seems new. It seems like you're ready to go. It's quite exciting. Like I said, just I only recently discovered you, so it's always fun to discover a new band, even if they're not new. Like it's just nice to
Well,
hear something new and something different creatively.
yeah, I heard somebody introduce me to a band called the Nomads, who are they're from Sweden from like the 1970s, and they did a new album, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and it's probably the best thing they've ever done. It's like that it's I always think there's so much great music out there, and if that there's loads of opportunities to discover something new, and I'm you're right, we're really enjoying being back together. It's just a lot of fun. I've been in bands with people who have been less fun in the recent period, and yeah, it's great to be playing with these guys again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Simon, for
Cool.
joining me on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Cheers. Thank you.